slipped. Now another difference is these guys here, they have spots on their belly. They have a spot pattern, which is actually unique to each seal. So that's one of the ways you can tell the difference between the two here. Whereas grey seals, they'll actually have patches rather than spots. Now the last difference is that grey seals are actually quite a bit larger than these guys here. So grey seals can be up to about half a metre bigger. There we go, so you see Mike able to check her over there. Now if you can't see the nostrils, you'll also be able to see the whiskers. Now basically seals have whiskers in order to help them find food. If they're swimming around and there's a shoal of fish swims past, then their whiskers will be able to sense the change in pressure and they'll know that there's a nice meal there for them. So that's the reason they have these. There you go, you'll see her spot pattern on her belly as she goes over there. Now the other thing you'll notice is that they do have rather large eyes.
Oh my god.
Now the reason for this is if you can imagine you're out in the sea, round about our coast, and you're hunting. The sea isn't always that clear. It can be a little bit murky. So these big eyes help them see a little bit better. Also, if they're hunting at dawn or dusk when the light's maybe not so good, again, having big eyes is helpful. Now, you'll also notice that they swim on their backs most of the time. Now, they swim on their backs basically so they can see beneath them. And again, the big eyes help with this. And the reason they need to see beneath them is because the sort of things that eat seals are things like killer whales and sharks. And if you've ever seen a killer whale or a shark hunting, even if it's just on TV, you'll see that they hunt from beneath and they come up and grab their prey. So if the seal can see beneath them, then obviously they've got more of a chance of getting it out of the way. Now you'll notice as well when they are up on the land mainly that they do have a nice fat layer. Now this is called blubber and it can be up to about 10 centimetres thick. Now the reason they have this blubber is basically because it can get pretty chilly. So if you imagine in the weather we just had when it wasn't the best, and you're in the sea, it's going to be pretty cold. So they have this nice fat layer basically just to keep them nice and warm. It's sort of the equivalent of us putting on a nice big jacket. So in summer it's not necessarily as thick. This means that they do tend to eat a lot more in winter than they do in summer. Now when people come and see this, they do think, oh, she's doing some pretty good tricks. Basically these tricks are actually exercises. They keep her nice and physically fit, but they also keep her mentally active, because you'll notice that before she does anything, she'll look over to Mike, see what he wants her to do, and then she will go ahead and do it. Sometimes. Now when you do see her on land, a lot of people get these confused with sea lions, but there is a few differences. Basically, seals and sea lions are from the same family. They're from the pinniped family. However, there's a couple of differences. Now, the main difference being their ability on land. Now, if you've ever seen a sea lion on land, they can walk pretty well. Now, this is because they have long, strong front flippers. Whereas if you look at our seals, they sort of shuffle on land. They're much more elegant in the water. Now, that's because their front flippers are a little bit shorter. And the reason for this is that sea lions will actually use their front flippers to propel themselves through the water. So that's how they swim. Whereas the seal will actually use its back flippers, and it does what's known as a pelvic wiggle. So when you see her, she'll actually swim with using her back. Another difference between seals and sea lions is their ears. Oh, there we go. It's her ears. Now these guys, they just have sort of little holes in the side of their head, whereas a sea lion will have external ear flaps. Another difference is that sea lions generally tend to be a little bit bigger than these guys here. Now you also notice that Mike is using a series of whistles. Basically it's like positive reinforcement training, so it's like training a dog. They associate the whistles with doing well and also with food. So obviously if she does something well, she knows she's going to get a food reward. That's why she's constantly looking to Mike to see exactly what she wants him to do. said, these seals here, these are resident seals, so they were born in captivity. That means that they will never be released into the wild because they would not have the necessary skills to cope out there. So if you do happen to find a seal pup that you feel has been abandoned, do not approach it. If you go near it, then its mother may be quite close by, and she's not going to be too happy that you've gone near it. Also, if you do go over to it and its mother's away hunting, when she comes back, if you've left your scent all over it, she is not going to recognise her pup, and she may actually abandon it for real. So the best thing to do if you find one is to phone the SSPCA. Now, if you find one in the winter time, it's likely to be a grey seal. These are the ones that have the nice white furry coat that we all think of. Whereas if you find one in the summer, it's likely to be one of these guys here, because that's when they have their pups. And they have to be ready to be in the water within about 6 hours.
Take it out of his house.
So you see she's got a variety of different things to play with as well, and she knows exactly what to do with each one.
Look, it's a ball. See what she does with it. She's got a long nose.
So what? I was like playing football, people do tricks at doing rollovers. You just don't put your shoes and rollovers.
She's doing tricks.
Now when you see them swimming, you will notice that they do tend to swim with their heads underwater. Now when they're actually hunting, they will hold their breath for approximately 20 minutes. However, they can hold it longer, up to about an hour and a half. Now, even 20 minutes is quite a long time. If you imagine, that's like you taking a big breath in just before you came out to watch this, and you won't take another one until you go in. So it is quite a long time to hold your breath for. So what they do is they have several ways to conserve their oxygen. So what they'll actually do is they will lower their heart rate. They'll lower it from about 120 beats per minute down to just 6. So obviously this helps them. And what they'll also do is they will just pump blood around their vital organs, again helping them conserve the oxygen.
Don't touch it, it'll be fall off.
Now in here, a lot of people ask us where our seals sleep. Well, basically, if they want to, they can sleep up on the land, or they can actually sleep in the water. When a seal sleeps in the water, it's called bottling, and what it does is it will lie like this with its nose up in the air, so it can still breathe. But they can sleep in either. Oh, there we go, so you can see her spots on her belly there.
Is it on his belly?
What's this going to see?
Then we'll look at the other one.
Very clever. Oh, look at that.
So when she jumps, she can actually reach that ball with her nose.
Too far.
Oh, just going to jump up again.
There we go, so that's them finished feeding now. So how about our big round of applause for our seals and for our aquarists as well. Okay, my name's Sam. If you do have any questions, I'll be around for about the next 10 minutes, and if not, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day here.
There you go.
Yes, sir.